Hello everyone, I'm Juan Carlos Alvarez. A neurotic state of wanting perfection. This is what Charlie Chaplin said about the making of City Lights. And perfection is what he got. And City Lights is perfect. It is Chaplin's masterpiece, or one of his masterpieces. It is one of the movies he will be remembered for. The movie premiered in 1931, 4 years after the advent of sound and film. And this is a silent film. The audacity that Chaplin had in making this film was unparalleled. In the opening scenes, he makes fun of talking pictures or sound and film. He thought that the sound in films was such a bad quality, so he makes fun of it in this movie. In the opening scenes, we are also introduced to one of the most iconic figures in all of film, the Little Tramp. By the time that this movie was made, Charlie Chaplin had already been here several years. He had come from England. In 1918, Charlie Chaplin, D.W. Griffith, Mary Pickford, and Douglas Fairbanks founded United Artists, the studio. And boy, all bets were off. He started making some of his most memorable films. Chaplin directed, wrote, and even scored the film. Notice how in this film, it's in City Lights, the camera is very still. There's very little camera movement. And this is what Charlie Chaplin was known for. He wanted the characters to be the focal piece of the scenes. City Lights has some of the most memorable scenes in all of cinema. When the tramp first meets the blind girl and there's mistaken identity. The dance floor, the club scene is hysterical and genius. The boxing scene is one of the most famous scenes in all of cinema. It is a balletic performance. And the end is perfection. I see no other way to end this film. He leaves so much for the audience to think about and to assume. And that is, and we've talked about this before, that is genius filmmaking. City Lights is a silent film, but I call it a balletic, poetic dance. Charlie Chaplin was a genius. We all know that by now. But City Lights just doesn't happen. He worked his ass off. Watching this film, I was so surprised on how engrossed I was with these characters. Even though they don't say a word, it's all visuals. It is an art form that is lost, but it's an art form that needs to be respected and somehow needs to come back. It's an art form also that is lost because it has to be so creative and you have to have such talented people doing it. In my opinion, silent film is the highest of creative forms. I give this film 5 out of 5 stars. It is a masterpiece. Bravo, Chaplin. There will never be anyone like him again. So thank you for joining me for City Lights. I hope you watched the film, and I will see you next week. Thank you.